Come on in to the Awaken to Yourself podcast, where we discuss how to develop a deeper connection to yourself and therefore manifest that which you desire. My name is Fiona Christie and I'm joined by my co-host, Diane Clark Manley. Let's dive into this week's episode. This week on the Awaken to Yourself podcast, we're discussing the metaphorical roadmap you're travelling, with a strategy to stop, observe, and redirect to more positive crossroads, and therefore change your outcomes. Come join us.
This series, The Life Shift, follows the modules from Fiona's course, The Life Shift with the Internalist Way. 12 modules which form a roadmap guiding you to connect with your own unique inner guidance system.
In last week's episode, we talked about emotions and the importance of tuning in to yours. Today, we're looking at the module called Roadmap, so stay tuned because this week we're going on a journey into possibilities and realignments. Your roadmap is like a series of new beginnings. It's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. The choice is yours.
I love that quote. If we could simply look at our challenges as new beginnings or opportunities, just think how much quicker our manifesting would become when we realize we've veered off course in life. Excuse me. The roadmap module in the course, which this podcast series is based off, is where you play the roadmap game. The roadmap game. It's interactive. The first step is to choose the street which best describes the mood or feeling you're experiencing. For example, you might be on mad muse, or maybe frustrated freeway is more your jam. Once you realize you're on that emotional street, you get the choice to stop, interrupt the unhelpful thought patterns that have been running the show, and choose a different direction.
Yeah, that's so true, Diane. And to add to that, if you take a wrong turning, it doesn't really matter because eventually you'll be presented with the opportunity to veer back on course again or back to centre. Think of the amount of times we've rerouted, taken a wrong turning, etc. We didn't think twice about turning around, making a U-turn if we were in our car, or turning right or left to get back to centre. I often see people sitting for a long time at intersections, trying to turn right into traffic, waiting for a gap in the traffic. They wait and they wait, getting more frustrated by the minute. I think to myself, well, what if they just turned left, then right into a side street, and then they'd pop back out again and they'd be ahead of the traffic by miles? Excuse me. That's the same in life. We have a roadmap and it's called our intuition, our emotions, and our feelings. But first we notice and then they all come together to form an internal roadmap. So they give us a choice, whereas without making use of these navigation prompters, we may stay fixed.
Choices are great. And remember, in the last episode on emotions, we grouped emotions into 4 main categories. We've got sad, mad, glad, and scared. We now get to bring in all of the other descriptors to help us navigate our way to glad, giving you even more choices to work with.
Wouldn't it be great if we were given a roadmap at birth? This roadmap told us where to go, for how long, when to get off the bus, etc. We did get one. It's our internal guidance system. How exciting. Stay tuned to learn how to tap into yours.
Tapping into your internal guidance system is one of the key learnings in the life shift, and the roadmap is one of the central modules which helps you tap into it. It's in the middle for a reason. In the first 4 episodes, you've been learning about how to navigate the journey. Now you're at the roadmap, where you can put all of the concepts from the previous 4 episodes into practice. We're all having our own unique journey here on planet Earth with no obvious external navigation system, but that's because we already have one. It's an internal one. Using street signs and a car is quite the perfect metaphor for how people navigate their life. The only difference is mostly they don't stop on the emotional street they arrive at to actually learn the lesson of getting the intuitive, or I should say, sorry, getting the intuitive guidance that they're here to learn. The roadmap, our internal guidance system, has a lot to share with us. Once you determine what street you're on, you have choices. But before that, you get to ask the question, what more can I learn from this? What about the actual place in life you've landed? You could have landed in hot water or, unfortunately, in poverty place, etc. Well, when you arrive there, if you can, shift gears to a more positive mindset and just observe. Go quiet. Go within. There will be guidance available. Will you listen? Let's unpack that with a couple of examples.
Come on in. You've arrived on Anxious Avenue.
Oh my God, I've just been made redundant. What am I going to do at my age? So many businesses are making people redundant. There'll be heaps of young ones out there that I'll have to compete with.
You've arrived exactly where you're meant to be, and you're here for a reason. I'll help you. Let's figure that out. Take a deep breath and breathe. Anxious Avenue can be the perfect short stopover on your journey, as it has a lesson for you. You may wish to choose your own name for this street. What words would you use to describe it? It could be fearful, compare and despair, when you compare yourself to others, worried, stuck, apprehensive.
Oh my God, this makes so much sense. Yes, I'm in compare and despair.
Oh, well, Anxious Avenue can be the perfect street to stay for a while, as your intuition may be telling you something. Anxiety is a fear of what might happen. It's a projection of your insecurities into the future that hasn't come to pass. It may help you to use the exactly line of questioning, which goes like this. Exactly what am I comparing to?
Ah, I see. Well, when I open up Facebook and see all of these people that have the same skills as me and they're much younger, I think to myself, well, why would an employer choose me?
Ah, well, whose business or worldview are you in when you think those thoughts? Yours or your employer's or the employer's?
Isn't it mine?
Well, aren't you in theirs, making up their minds for them? That they want someone younger? For all you know, they prefer a mature person with experience and who is reliable.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, you're right. I'm in their business.
So drop the story that you're creating around your anxiety. What are the facts in your situation?
Okay, well, the facts are I was given a letter to tell me I'm being made redundant. I still have a job at the moment. I have skills. I'm good at what I do. And I know there are other types of jobs that I could apply for too.
Okay, great. Now tell me, is there something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet?
Hmm. Well, actually, there is something. I've always been interested in baking, but I've been too afraid in the past to retrain. Maybe it wouldn't pay as much. And what if people just didn't like my cooking?
So the desire you've had to become a baker has been your intuitive knowing. It's what you're passionate about and has been asking to be brought out to the light. It will keep asking to be heard. And maybe now is the time to explore it. Maybe this redundancy could be your gift. Staying in staying in anxious avenue does not answer underlying questions. I find it helps to break down the issues your anxiety or you're anxious about into bite-sized pieces and address them one at a time. For example, if you were anxious about giving a speech, you might break it down as, what if I forgot, what if I forget what I'm saying, what we're supposed to say? What if I break into a sweat? Or what if nobody laughs at my jokes? By addressing those pieces one at a time to make your anxiety more manageable. What are the three for you, do you think, Diane?
Well, one of them would be, what if I never get another job? What then? And another one might be, what if I can't pay my mortgage? And of course, luckily I have some savings, but I'll have to dip into them.
Okay, well, here's the truth. Anxiety is a story about a future that hasn't happened yet. It's common for people to predict the future based on what they've experienced in the past, but these projections don't necessarily hold true. What people and situations do you think you'll attract given what you now know from episodes 1 to 4, if you choose to stay on this street?
Well, my thought of what if I never get another job, I guess vibrationally, I'm setting myself up for failure. My
Yeah.
next thought was, what about not being able to pay my mortgage?
Mm-hmm.
I'm reminded of the thought wheel from the last episode or one of the last episodes, and I could instead intercept my thoughts to bring in a more positive feeling.
Yeah.
And this could be an opportunity to downsize and or to retrain, which I've been interested in for a while, but have gone back into overwhelm thinking it's in the way too hard basket. But actually, this could be the perfect time for me, which might even give me the time and space to start my own side gig. So let's look at another example, this time using overwhelm as our emotion. Well, we've now arrived at overwhelm overpass.
Oh my God, I feel so overwhelmed. I'm stuck. I feel like I can't start. And I feel like, that expression, I'm stuck in the mud. I really want to meet someone now that I'm free again, but I don't want to internet date and I don't want a blind date either. I just want to meet them naturally. My tech skills aren't that great either. What if I swipe left instead of right or the other way around? Oh God, it just fills me with dread.
Well, you've arrived exactly where you're meant to be, and you're here for a reason. Overwhelm Overpass can be the perfect short stopover on your journey, as it has a lesson for you. You may wish to choose your own name for this street. And if you did, what words would you use to describe it? Could it be stress street, frustrated freeway, or it's about perfectionism, or being overburdened, or responsible? What would you choose?
Well, overwhelm seems right, but I can see that perfectionism is coming into play here too.
Overwhelm Overpass is your intuitive nudge to look deeper. It's it could be because you feel the need to be in control of everything, or it could be that you're busy making up stories about the outcome that hasn't even happened yet. When people hit overwhelm, it's a good indicator that they need to stop, take a breath, and identify what they can let go of. And in this case, letting go of how you think the outcome will play out could be the first step. So, Fiona, have you been in this street before in a similar way, or is this a pattern for you?
Oh, yes, I think it's fairly familiar to me.
So, what would be helpful would be to list the facts. the facts that have led you to the street today. So, what exactly are you feeling overwhelmed about?
Well, I've had a brief look on Tinder, which is where everyone says you should go. Internet dating wasn't a thing when I was last looking. And oh my God, it looks like all the good ones are gone and I feel so old. I even had a sneak peek at the woman on there to see what I'd be competing with. And oh my God, they're all so beautiful and young looking.
Okay. I can see what might be getting in the way here. Can you tell me what the facts are in your story? Leaving the overwhelmed part of the story behind, just give me the facts.
Okay, I'll have a try. Here goes. I want to meet someone. I have rules about how I want to meet them. I don't actually know what it would be like to internet date because I haven't actually done it before. I've attracted relationships before, so why not now? It's been over 20 years, and I guess the last one would be I feel ready.
Great. I find it helps to break down the issues you're overwhelmed about into bite sized pieces and address them one at a time. What are the three issues you believe are causing the overwhelm, Fiona?
I think it could be that all the good ones are gone, I'm too old, and I'm not tech savvy enough to internet date.
Well, here's the truth. Overwhelm is a place you go to help justify your procrastination and to avoid a future that hasn't even happened yet. It's common for people to predict the future based on what they've experienced in the past. But in this case, you haven't experienced internet dating yet. You're simply making assumptions. There's this little gem from Louise Hay's teachings that might help you. She states that the more rules you have in your life, the harder your life is to live. Therefore, in your case, you aren't leaving any space or much space for spontaneity or even synchronicity to occur. And we can identify our rules by listening to how often we use the words should, must, have to, and what will people think? Now that we know that the more rules we have, the tougher our life is to negotiate or navigate, I reckon it's time to move to a more positive street and stop over there for a while. How about we move to Gratitude Grove? So while you're there, think of three things you're grateful for. It could be, I'm grateful for the lessons this situation is teaching me. I've learned so much from my previous relationships to help navigate the next one. Or that internet dating has moved on so much from its inception that maybe now it's way easier to navigate your way around it. So now that we've discussed a couple of examples, let's look at two amazing strategies you can use to get back on course with ease.
That's right, yes. And we looked at the biggest questions we know will be burning in your mind. The first one you may have been thinking is, what if I forget to stop and then I end up on a road that is so far off course? Or what if I feel like I've never been on course?
Well, we believe it doesn't matter how far off course you go. If you start to tweak your vibrational set point through the notice and thought strategies, change your thoughts whenever you catch them spiraling down, then step by step you can shift back to center. And if you feel like you've never been on course, then we have you covered, because it's time to create for yourself a life map and ask yourself, what do you really want? Well, and we'll look at how you can create your own life map after the next strategy.
So here's the no wrong turns strategy. The next time you say, oh God, here I am again, ask yourself, what opportunity can I find from this situation? And then Use the phrase, "that's good, therefore," to help you see the opportunities that may be right in front of you. Okay, now it's time for question number 2.
If you feel like you've never been on course, then it's time to create for yourself a life map. So you'll be able to identify the right path when you get there.
Yes, and if you feel like you've never been on course, or you want to realign and ensure that you stay on course, then it's time to create yourself a life map so you'll identify with the right path when you get there. Step 1 is to gather the tools. You'll need some sticky notes, or post-it notes as we call them here in New Zealand, a large piece of cardboard or paper, and some coloured pens or pencils. Okay, let's move on to step number 3. Think of one area of your life that you want to work on, e.g., you may want to meet your life partner. Oh, and don't fret about the strategy because we're actually going to give you a graphic soon, so you'll see how it works. Anyway, so you want to meet your life partner, and then we move on to step number 4, which is where you draw a circle in the middle of the large piece of paper and write your destination on it. For example, meet my life partner goes in the middle. Step 5, write each of the tasks you'd need to complete to reach your desired result onto post-it notes and place them around the circle. Step 6, break each task into manageable micro tasks. Often a task, actually, when you look at it, it has a whole lot of different tasks within it. Anyway, write those micros onto smaller post-it notes and place them out from the relevant task. And here's a tip which I use all the time and has been a lifesaver. Use post-it notes to prioritize tasks by numbering them in the order of completion. For flexibility, number in increments of 5, 10, 15, so that you can easily add new tasks by inserting them between existing ones. So for example, if you think of, you've already done your map and then you think, oh God, I have to do this as well, then you could make it number 6. So I hope that's helpful. And here's what your life map might look like.
Why are you writing their list?
Glad you asked, because if I write their list, then I'll highlight the areas in me that don't match the list. The reason we're writing their list and not ours is because let's say we wanted to meet someone with a toned body and a healthy bank account, but meanwhile we were a couch potato and we're struggling financially, then the list doesn't match the vibration. Oh, what's next on the Awaken Guru's life map, Diane?
Well, we're starting to move into a new phase of advertising. We've developed what we call niche offerings. We're all about developing a deeper connection to yourself and your inner world. So these niche offerings are like side roads on the map. The ones we're currently creating are reels and adverts for the love shift with your roadmap to love.
We're having a lot of fun creating reels, lots of learning and laughter, having not really tinkered with Instagram much myself anyway, whilst we ensure that our message is crisp and clear. Look, our main focus is helping people to do the inner work with ease so that they can change their outer world. We hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. By now, maybe you're curious about the actual course, The Life Shift with the Internalist Way, which this series is based on. We haven't said much about it other than giving you a wee snippet of teachings from it. So here's a bit of a lowdown. Each course module contains videos, guidebooks, and a workbook. There are bonus sessions, including guided meditations. There's an interactive roadmap in the middle of the course, which you get to play with and decide on which street you want to participate on, and so much more. If you're interested in learning more, visit theawakenedguru.com/the life shift to learn more. Thank you so much for listening to this episode about your roadmap. Next week, we'll be exploring your nurturing, looking at proven strategies to put yourself first and uncovering what lies beneath your non-nurture habits. And if you haven't already, be sure to get on the list so that you receive advance notice when our next episode goes live. To do that, just head over to our website, theawakenedguru.com, and go to the blog podcast area, and you'll see a button there to sign up to receive alert notification.